Hi everybody, welcome to the PHC Wrap Up Show brought to you by Badboonarising. We are live here at the 2021 NCHA Metallic Cat Futurity, joined here with my good buddy Tim Smith. Tim, welcome.
Mark, it's good to be here.
Fun to have you back in town again and behind the mic.
Good to be here.
So let's recap a little bit. We just finished up the second go of the Open Futurity.
Right.
Things didn't quite go how people maybe had planned or how we thought it was going to go.
Yeah.
Brady and I bragged on how great the cows are going to be. Well, we've all got egg on our face now, but you just never know.
No, you don't, and the cattle were a little bigger in the second round and a little pushier, and a lot of the guys kind of adjusted their situation as they went forward and kind of safetied up a little bit some of the bigger scores, and of course it didn't end up taking as much as we thought it was going to take, 433.5 to advance in the limited and to the semifinals. But the good horses find a way to get through. And there was some tough luck for several good horses, but the majority of them made it through to the semis, and that's what we like to see.
Yeah, and once again a 433.5 to advance, taking 7 extras. We've got 82 horses going to the semis.
It's big semis.
Big semifinals. Yeah, and then in the limited finals, 433.5 in that one as well with 5 extras, and that's going to be a 30-horse finals in that one.
In the limited, and they were saying that it was going to take more in the limited initially to advance than it was to the semis, but again, the cattle being the deciding factor. They were plenty tough, and the draws were very important in the second round. An early draw sure made it a lot easier for you to advance. Towards the bottom, it got pretty tough down there.
Yeah, it did. And some of the new names we're seeing on the leaderboards, obviously not new to cutting, but Cade Shepherd and Lance Cooper. First Open Futurity finals as open trainers.
Open semifinals, and they kicked in their non-pro card, and I watched them both show. Cade had a really good run in that last set, marked a 19, and along with Corey Deal came with some really good horses this year. Fons de Barbasson had a very nice smooth talking style horse. Dalton Vicker for the Circle Y, he has a wonderful little dual ray mare. He showed extremely well. Marcus Spencer, who works for Cullen Chartier, was the last horse to work in the last set and made it on the number, 33.5, and did a tremendous job showing a very nice highbrow cat mare. So we've got some great young hands, as we always do. A lot of the familiar faces are back as always, but we're looking for an exciting semifinals, and we'll see who ends up standing at the end.
Yeah, well, let's recap some of the results. We had 3 teams that ended up with a 440.5 to lead the aggregate leaderboard at the end of round 2. First one, Morgan Cromer aboard TF Checks Her Blue, bred by the Travelers Farm, now owned by Clark Butte Ranch. This is a once in a blue boon out of TF High Checks CD. 219 in the first go, 21.5, second highest scored in the second go with a 440.5. Pretty good team right there. Yeah,
it certainly is a wonderful little mare, and I've had a chance to see her a lot during the course of the summer. And this horse's mother, TF High Check CD, was actually Morgan's first Open Futurity finalist for Travelers Farms, who were big breeders in the West Coast years and years ago. They owned Folks Monologue that Scott Weiss had so much success on way back, and from none other than Russ Westfall, he told me over cocktails the other night that he believes this is probably one of the best horses Morgan has ever showed. So that doesn't bode well for the rest of the boys in there, but she kind of idled around and marked these scores. It's a very good horse.
Yeah, we haven't seen Morgan's aggressive side in finals yet when the money's on the line.
No, and this filly can go fast or slow and is trained to death, and as always, Morgan presents her very well, but a lot of history to Morgan, to the mother, and to Travelers Farms. Yeah,
and that one also leads the Chrome Cash standings right now. And then another team on top of the leaderboard, Janie Wood with John Mitchell in the saddle on the homebred Slate River Ranch mare, Janie Wood. She's a Stevie Ray Vaughan out of Junie Wood, a 222 in the first go, 218.5 in the second go. What do you think about that one?
Well, she's an awful lot like her mother. Everybody has said that, and I didn't get to see the first round live. I watched the second round, and Johnny, being the showman that he is, just kind of fiddled around and marked him at 218.5 and didn't expose her too much, but she is incredibly intelligent on a cow, as Johnny's horses are, and resembles her mother a lot. Very low-headed, very quick to the ground, and I think there's a lot of horse there. I think he just kind of coasted through it, and she'll be one to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. Well, another one, fun guy to always talk about, Dirk Blakesley. He comes here year after year, and he puts himself up there on other people's horses or on his own horses. Such a great showman. This year aboard his catch ride, Hail Yeah, bred by Nacho's Quarter Horses, now owned by Gregory Williamson. This is a Kit Kat Sugar out of Summer Stays here. Cullen Chartier is the trainer on this one. Cullen showed 2 other ones, and he made the semis on Ronish, had a little tough luck on Pop Smoke in the second go. But Dirk had a 221.5 on this one and a 219. They also lead the gelding division.
Yeah, and Dirk is cool hand Luke. He doesn't get excited no matter what's happening, and he did an exceptional job in the second round. I watched that live on some tough cows, and kept it all together for the owner, Greg Williamson, now. And a lot of you might remember that name from years ago. Greg had a mare named Kraken that Farron Hightower made the Futurity Finals on years and years ago, and took a little hiatus away from the cutting, but he's back, and it's good to see him back with a strong semifinalist. Got a good chance to get to that last round.
Yeah, for sure. Then in the limited open leader, we have Hayden Upton aboard I'm a Rockabilly Rebel. Scored a 221.5 in the first go and a 217 in the second go for a 438.5 total. This leads all the limited riders going into the limited open finals. And as we said, a 433.5 plus ties, 5 extras, 30 horses to the finals in that one.
Yeah, and this horse was very strong in the go-rounds. He's a beautiful son of Metallic Rebel, and this is the first Futurity horse the owners have had. And it's quite a ways to jump in there and with your first crack out of the box. But Hayden's done a great job with this horse, and he's certainly going to be one that we'll see. And you know, from some of the first Metallic Rebel colts, I mean, they've looked really good here, really good. A lot of the young sires have really had a strong appearance this year.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about something new here, Tim. This year we've got the Western Bloodstock Milt Bradford and Ben Emerson sale incentive here from Western Bloodstock. It's going to pay out $100,000 to the top 3 placing horses. It's going to pay $50,000, $30,000, and $20,000. They don't have to make the finals. This is a new incentive that Jeremy announced last year there at the Western Bloodstock sales. We had, when we put the stats together to put the subclasses on there, we had 149 of the horses, 529 horses entered in the open first go that were eligible for this, 28%. Well, that surprised me that there was that many horses that have gone through the sale as a weanling, yearling, or 2-year-old or 3-year-old and end up here in the first go of the Futurity.
Yeah, it just goes to show you that you can go to a Western Bloodstock sale and you can buy a winner, big time winners.
Quality.
And 28% of our open entries came out of those sales. Our leader after the first 2 rounds is the great little mare Kona, owned by Jim and Mary Jo Milner and shown by Tatum Rice, and he has a combined 440 after the rounds, and he just showed here in the last set, and she held as bad a cow for a long time as a 3-year-old is expected to hold. I mean, it was, he kept it together and fought that second cow off, because we were a whisker from not talking about it right now. But
those last 2 turns on that second cow, I mean, if Tatum's not having a drink, Carly better be giving him a back rub, because he's going to need something to kind of chill out a little bit after that one.
Yeah, it was a really good run. That mare has a lot of presence, and she's very smart on a cow, typical of Tatum's horses, and she showed her integrity right there, because it was a tough cow, and she looked good doing it.
Yeah, and so strong.
Yeah,
strong.
Big time, and of course came from you know, all them good 2-year-olds that they come from the Northwest every year. He's going to bring some more this year down here, Richard Jordan. You know, and she came from Richard's program, and you know, Tatum is in the lead, and we got a ways to go, but there's a lot of good ones from the sales.
Yeah, and that program, like I said, year after year, they have produced, you know, some big time horses.
Big time.
And so, I mean, they're always a threat, and they're always worth watching. There's a lot of excitement and buzz around those horses at the Western Bloodstock sales.
Yep.
So we've talked about, like, a lot of the highlights, some of the great runs. Obviously, there's always some hard luck stories too. You know, and we don't like talking about these, but they are worth a mention, because these horses are exceptional horses that we're not going to see advance any further in the open.
Right.
You know, and Jeffrey Sheehan, Sam Coffey, that horse there, looked really good in the first go, and had a little trouble with his third cut on there, but you know, made it to the second go around, was looking to advance, was doing everything right, and just cut a bad cow. Yeah,
cut a bad cow, and that's certainly all of these horses we're fixing to mention here. We're going to hear a lot and them. I mean, they're very good horses, and that's what this Futurity. I mean, it's glory one day and feathers the next. And there were some sure heartbreaking stories. Matt Gaines on There's a Reason to Believe, the Metallic Cat colt out of Something to Believe In, the fabulous show mare, had a little tough luck in the second go round, but another very good horse that we'll certainly hear a lot from, you know, as we go on.
Yeah, and Paul Hansmore went out on a 219.5 from the first go on RTL Primero. you know, it just shows you that, you know, it takes 4 rounds here to get to the pay window.
Yeah. You've got to have a lot of luck on your side, and you know, Paulie's as good a showman as there is in this business, and you know, those cows don't look at our resume. They don't care who's cutting them. If they decide to go back, they go back. And for me personally, one of my favorite horses this year at the Futurity, Andy Sherrod had a Metallic Cat gelding. And if you were all in here or got to see the second round, he had a little trouble in the first round, had a 15.5. He was the first horse to work in the second round. And he lost a cow at the whistle and marked a 208. So he was fixing to be a 23, 24. And that horse, I mean, you could just feel the air go out of the building when it happened, you know. But
I talked to Andy, you know, before that run, in between the runs, and he was telling me how excited he was, you know, and he finally had him a good one to bring to town. And you know, so it's always heartbreaking to see that happen. But there's a lot of stories like that, but that's the beauty of the Futurity. It is the first show.
Yeah, it's their first show, not their last show.
Exactly. So, So, Tim, talk a little bit about what happens now. These open horses that are not getting shown in the non-pro or the amateurs, what are these guys going to do now to kind of throttle back, regroup, and get ready for the semis?
Well, I think most of them, you know, most of these horses are kept out in the country. Probably Parker County's got as many of them stabled out there, but they'll get them out of the building here. They'll get them home. I'm sure there'll be some trips to the vet clinic involved in it, but they'll let them freshen up. There's a good 2 weeks before they've got to go again. They'll probably give them a few days off, a little trail riding in the pasture, start them back real easy in 4 or 5 days, and let them just kind of regenerate. This is it's a very stressful environment in here at the Futurity, but I think most of these colts will probably have a few days off, a few days of turnout, and then they'll start trotting them and legging them back up again, and start working them 4 or 5 days ahead of the semis, you know. But they'll darn sure get a break right now. You know,
it's always, you know, it's amazing how much these horses change from the first go around, that first cow in the first go around, to the semifinals and the finals, and also, you know, the demeanor of the riders. Right. You know, the confidence.
Well, you don't know. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's John Mitchell or Matt Gaines or Marcus Spencer. Okay, you don't know what they're going to do when you put your hand down the first time. Are they going to take that cow? Are they going to be a little iffy? Are they going to be a little fresh, a little scared? But after you go down there a couple times, these good horses, they want to be show horses. And so the semifinals, the cutting actually started today for me. I mean, when you're showing or judging, the second go round is when the cutting starts. And then we really know what we have in there. You know, Lloyd Cox won the second round with a 22 on a stud that he marked a 16 in the first round on, and I watched him show him, and I've seen that horse a lot, and he was a little fractious, and it wasn't as smooth as Lloyd usually is. And then the second round, you could see that they figured out how to prepare him a little better. 222, and and an easy 222,
and led the second go round. Baby, I'm hot.
Led the second go round. So you really understand, their mentality, and if they can handle a tough cow or a slow cow or what you need to cut for them. But the semifinals should be good watching. We've got a bunch of really trained colts. Hopefully the cattle will be a little more forgiving. I thought the first round cows were snappy and quick, good. I thought the second round cows were big and pushy, and they either ran hard or they didn't move at all and got real close to these colts, which is the kiss of death. I'd rather have one run hard than have one not move. That's the problem.
It's a little hard to play defense on a 3-year-old when they're right in your face.
When they're in your face and open to your shoulder, it's like, oh my Lord, what are we going to do here?
It's not a fun feeling.
It's not a fun deal at all, that's for sure.
So now we've just started the non-pro first go around. We've got 4 days of that, or 4 or 5 days of that. And then this weekend kicks off the World Finals, Teton Ridge World Finals. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, those horses are starting to come to town. And fortunately, I'm going to be able to get back in the saddle there. The Futurity didn't go well for me this year, but I've got one in the Open Finals and two in the Novice Finals, and we're looking forward to that. A lot of races up for grabs this year. The last couple of years, things have been kind of decided before we got here. The Open race, the non-pro race, the 25 Novice race, the 2,000 Rider race, the 50 AM race. The world titles are at stake, and there's a lot of really nice horses this year. It's been a fun year hauling. Matt Gaines has qualified 3 horses for the Open Top 15. I don't think that's ever happened before.
No.
Fortunately, I get the call to the post on Mr. Lucky's. I'm going to show him for Matt.
It's not often you get the catch ride in the World Finals.
Catch ride in the World Finals. I tried to get him to give me one of them mares, but he wouldn't do it. He said, no, you get Mr. Lucky's. But, you know, Jim Van Gilder and E.J. Huntley are in a battle in the non-pro, and Bonnie Martin a close third. And, myself and Galen Wells are in a tussle in the 25 novice, and Mike Wood a close third.
David Harp and
Frank Martin. You know, so it should be good watching Open and Non-Pro Saturday and Sunday, and then Wednesday starts the other classes. But a lot of people tried at the end to make it this year, and you know, that from 5th to 15th, there was a lot of change at the end, and people just in or just out, you know, but they really tried. And Teton Ridge has come in as our sponsor this year. We're very grateful to them for all they've done, and it should be good watching. If you know, you see the great 3-year-olds here, but if you want to see us go fast and throw dirt, come on over Saturday and Sunday night, because it's going to be it'll be a good cut. And there's a lot of really good younger horses this year. We've got a lot of 5, 6, and 7-year-olds this year, as opposed to, you know, the 8, 9, 10-year-olds. Mike Woods gelding plays Little Kit Kat. This is his 5th year coming to the World Finals in various different classes. He's kind of turned into the red, white, and boon of the modern era. You know, these horses that just keep on keeping on, you know. So.
And there's an interesting story in 2000 Limit Rider as well. Tell us about that one. I know you're kind of involved with that.
Well, there's one of the young ladies that works for Mike and Roper is in the lead, and there's a young man from Louisiana. They're, I think, within a couple $100 or less than that coming into the finals. And you know, they're friends. They've been competing against each other all year, and that's fun. You know, everybody wants to win, but it's about sportsmanship, you know, and that type of thing. And we've covered a lot of miles this year. You know, Stephanie I went to Lincoln, Nebraska, and Steph came all the way to Lincoln, Nebraska to show in the 2000 rider for 3 days up there. And that kind of kept her in the lead coming in here, you know. So, you know, we don't know how it's going to turn out, but it should be good watching.
It's always fun watching those strategies at the end of the year and seeing who pops up where that you didn't expect to see.
Yeah, what are you doing here, you know? And you, like a lot of the West Coasters went to Utah. I came to Sweetwater and went to Nebraska. And, you know, so we all end up in the same place. But all year long, you know, the West Coast is kind of the hotbed of weekend cutting right now. I mean, certainly people come from all over, but a lot of the road to the finals goes through Queen Creek, Arizona. And you know, we sure wish everybody the best of luck, and it should be some good watching. And Teton Ridge again is coming on as our sponsor, will be a huge help to the World Finals this year.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch it all play out. I know we're going to see a bunch of big scores because everybody is going to be throwing it all out there, and the judges, those pencils better be sharp, because it's fixing to light up over there in the Watt Arena. It's going to be fun to watch, and like I said, it starts on Saturday at 7 p.m. with the non-pro first go around, then the open first go around right behind that. So stay tuned. We've got lots of exciting things happening here in Fort Worth over the next couple of weeks. We're just into the first week here, and thanks to Badboonarising for this update. And Tim, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And we hope you'll enjoy the rest of the show. Tune into CHC Live Scoring to keep up with all the action live.